One of the things that I didn't recognize getting into the business is how many people actually live in their RVs. There's an amazing amount of people that are homeschooling their children.
On the road.
Affordable housing is super, and you know, I look at the RV living people, it's an economical way for them to live right now. One of the things that I think turned me off a bit about the multifamily world is it was like that everybody just wanted to get bigger, and that's not the end all be all for me. There's not a day that I don't look forward to it. In fact, I kind of have to, my husband and I both, we own our own businesses and we're both like, hey, we got to stop working. We love our businesses and we love doing the things that we do, but we've got to, you know.
Spend time with each other.
Exactly. I think one of the things that I have so much respect for is our investors who have worked so hard for their funds and their money, and that they trust us with that.
Welcome to another CashFlow Quest episode. Thanks for joining us. Today we have a very special guest and friend of mine who I've known in the industry and met at events through the years, Amy Cooper. She owns GlampHER, which is an RV and glamping park company. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
So good to
Great
see
to
you
meet
guys.
you.
Yeah. Great to meet you finally. I've heard a lot. So happy to be here.
Amy and I met, we've been to some conferences and we were just talking. We met in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, at a gathering for women and connected, and just realized we had a lot in common with, you know, us in mobile home parks and her in the RV space. And so tell us about how you kind of got into what you're doing now.
Yeah. So my background, I've always been in the sales world, business development, VP of business development for a construction firm and for a paint company. So I was in the paint world, Glidden Paint, Frazee Paint, ICI, PPG, all of the bigs, right? And always creating some sort of program, national program. And so I was always very connected to real estate. And I always saw a lot of different types of real estate out there, single family homes, of course, new home construction, even manufactured homes, in that we would do paint programs and we'd go to all the big, you know, Cavco and Clayton Home and sell paint to them. And really just paid attention. I grew up in Texas, and a couple of my friends in Texas had manufactured housing parks. And I was like,
I forgot you grew up in Texas.
Where do you live?
Yeah.
Or where are you
so
from?
I live in Phoenix now,
Okay.
but I grew up in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay.
My dad was in the oil business, so we moved around a lot, but I was in Dallas for most of my life. And it's actually where I bought my first RV park.
Love it.
And so I just had this I was in awe of the fact that you could own dirt and people pay you for dirt. Now, obviously you have to have some utilities, you have to have some basics, right?
Sure.
But the fact that they pay you for dirt. And as my last W-2 in my career, I was VP of business development for a third-party management firm for multifamily.
Okay.
So I did a lot of speaking, talking, working with owners and investors of multifamily.
What was the company?
CalCap, which actually is a California-based company. They started a third-party firm and asked me to come in. So when I started with them, there were 600 units. We got up to 6,000 units.
Wow.
As I was talking to different people that needed the third-party management. What that taught me a lot about was multifamily, which was all the rage. And I saw a lot of people coming into it. And there was just this gut feeling that it wasn't right for me, even though it was all the rage. And my daughter even actually had started working for ABI Multifamily in Phoenix. It's one of the biggest firms there. I was around a lot of due diligence. I learned a lot about scaling. I learned a lot about what you look for, how you underwrite. And I met a lot of people that have ultimately helped me as I've been growing. So 2020 was the world shut down, and I took I took that time to go, okay, what does this look like? First of all, I started getting into politics, which I had never gotten into before, but I started diving deep on what actually the heck is going on.
Yes.
Secondly, I was like, hey, I'm not in the office. I've got all this extra time. What am I going to do? And I had been doing a lot of networking, going to a lot of real estate conferences.
Yeah, business development. You're out there trying to look at how to grow, make connections, feed in leads to grow.
Exactly. So I started just kind of putting my feelers out and had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, there's a park in Texas. It's right outside of Dallas, Fort Worth, which I'm very familiar with. What about, it's 77 acres and it's a safari park. Like, what? Safari? You
Yeah.
know, what's
and I
that?
was like, wait a minute. This is like a world.
Exactly.
You got Jennifer's attention. She loves the zoo.
Wait a minute. You have a park? Safari?
So
I'm in.
yeah, I'm like, so I bought a zoo, you know, like the whole
that
thing,
is so
right?
cool. Tell me more.
And so very
Literally. Did you notice she was like just fired up?
I didn't.
Like every time we do a corporate event, she's like, at the Wild Animal Park, they have this place you can go.
that you can go.
I just love animals.
So I know. And so this place, the thing that I fell in love with was the donkey named George, because he would come up to get his food at the office every day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love George. So it's 77 acres. It's 38 sites. And it had 3 cabins on site. One of them was the laundry room. One of them was the office. And one of them was a full-time place for the manager to live and stay.
That's not very many units for how big a property that is.
You're right. So you're thinking growth, right? And what is the potential? The animals roam, right?
So
and they're herd animals.
By the way, you bought a zoo with a few sites.
Right. Exactly. So we don't have, at that park, we don't have lions, tigers, and bears, but we've got Jacob sheep. We have oryx. We've got black buck antelope, which are just gorgeous animals.
Really pretty.
And what I found out over the years, you can sell some of these animals because they breed quite often, and you can actually sell. So it's other income. Who knew I would have other income from
other
this?
income.
Exactly.
Animal sales.
Exactly, right? And I geek out on other income, like anything you can do. And so, for instance, we have a huge playground at this park, and a lot of wind and storms come through. Well, one particular storm grabbed the playground, it rolled it across the road and hit this really cool old covered wagon we had and messed it up. And so I said, hold on, we could make this a stay. So I hired somebody to create a covered wagon. It's got a queen bed. It's got a refrigerator, a little kitchenette. And so now that's one of our units to rent out.
Did you buy one from those guys that run around at the trade shows? Because they're really cool.
Not yet, but I have plans to.
Okay.
So actually, I just bought a shower house from them, from Conestoga Wagon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
We bought a shower house for our park in Beaver Lake, Arkansas.
Got it.
And then we have another project that in Norris Lake, Tennessee, that we'll be buying their newest wagon. So super excited to do that.
Cool.
And they're a great company. I can share something about them. It's been very intriguing. And so that was my first, you get your hands on this and you start looking at all these opportunities. So the cabins, for instance, they're all short-term rental now. Moved the laundry room, moved the office, and created these cute little cabins, and people love it. They come out, it's super quiet. We have a trail that you can walk to see the animals. And so we don't have a driving trail right now, but our next source of other income will be leasing golf carts. So people can lease those, and you lease them, you don't buy them. And
they just come in and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not having the maintenance, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
People love then going out on the trails.
Yeah.
So that was my first foray into RV and glamping, and just started really recognizing how, new to the States, because glamping started over in Europe many years ago,
right?
But new-ish to the States. You still have conversations with people that don't know what glamping is. In fact, one of our director of marketing, what's one of the things when we go to some of our shows, she has little interviews and says, what is glamping to you? Some people are like, don't know what glamping is. Some of it is, hey, it's a RV that, having a trailer and going, or a pop-up tent. Sometimes that's glamping to some people. So, I didn't grow up camping. Glamping to my dad was Motel 6, because he was usually staying at a Hyatt or Hilton because he was in the oil industry. So we didn't do a lot of camping, but I always loved the outdoors. And so that's the other feature that we're really excited about as we grow. We look for RV parks that are in destination locations. So Pigeon Forge, Beaver Lake, Arkansas, just outside of Rogers.
That looks beautiful on that lake.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. It's 26 acres. It's on the water. We've got 10 boat slips at a coveted, they're not allowing any more boat slips. So we're grandfathered in for 10.
That's
there.
so cool.
Again,
Yeah.
other income, right?
So you just rent them out permanently for
Well,
access, or do you use it for
so
rentals
far,
and
we're
stuff?
just doing rentals there.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm looking at doing a floating pickleball court.
Whoa.
There,
Floating pickleball.
they have a floating pickleball court.
That would be fun.
Super,
That would add some spice to the game.
Exactly.
Move a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Everybody's like, what about the balls? I'm like, well, you pay, I think it's $3 grand extra for walls. I'm like, we'll definitely be doing that, right? And have the walls on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise they're in the water. But, we really like to create, we like to create a family environment, things for people to come do. So the safari, Beaver Lake, Arkansas is home of massive mountain biking. And both my partner and I are huge mountain bikers. We didn't realize that when we met and found that out later. Love mountain biking. The Walton family, they're in Fayetteville and Bentonville. They have created, the Walton boys have created some of the best, like second in the nation, mountain biking trails.
Oh, interesting.
And so we have one of the best ones really close to the park. So we're going to be catering to that. We'll have some rental bikes. And
you got to get out to Arkansas.
I know.
I used to ride motorcycles all over, and we rode across the country. And one of my favorite places was Arkansas.
Yeah.
It just is like, it's a hidden gem, and nobody talks about Arkansas.
He keeps saying that, and we'll have leads at, mobile home parks, and we're like, it's kind of small, but it's so pretty. And I feel like there's a lot of drive there to like people vacation or go, and people always say it's so beautiful.
Right.
So we're like, maybe eventually we try to get into Arkansas. We were like, let's pick Amy's brain on that.
Well, and same thing for me. I grew up in Texas, so there's always, hillbilly jokes about Arkansas, like everybody. Rah, rah, rah.
I love that though.
That's
like the best part. There's a big
telling-
aviation thing in Arkansas too. The Walmart family. The Waltons are big into aviation too.
Yeah.
So they've built some like epic backcountry aircraft like areas.
Alice Walton is a huge art buff. And so Crystal Bridges Art Museum is 20 minutes from our park. And there's people that come from all over the world to see it. Like it's
You just wouldn't know unless you're out there.
Beautiful community. Been very, and it's funny. We had some friends come in from Atlanta for 4th of July because I was going to be there working on some construction stuff because I'm head of construction as well as capital raising for GlampHER.
Okay.
And
Couple hats there.
both.
Yeah.
And so I was like, come on over. And she's like, all of our friends in Atlanta were like, where are you going for 4th of July? And we're like, Arkansas. But to your point, they got there and just mind's blown, right?
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, beautiful country. And the lakes, especially Beaver Lake, super, super nice. Very clean lake, pretty quiet for the most part.
Yeah.
And the hills, the trees.
Just good, raw
Really nice.
nature, fun.
Before we jump from Arkansas, what cities do you like for more of that like multifamily / mobile home park realm? Like we like bigger towns / cities. So that's the only reason why we haven't like dove in.
Yep. Yep. So our model and what we've come to realize is it has to be 45 minutes to an hour from an airport. We don't want to do farther than that.
Yep.
We have gotten regional in that we're Pigeon Forge is you go into Knoxville. So it's again at kind of a regional, and Fayetteville. And we don't have a plane, and it would be very beneficial because you're having to fly, you usually have a couple stops, especially if I'm flying out of Phoenix. Now my partner is out of Denver, so she's able to get in a little easier, but ultimately that's about as small as we'll go. We both have had properties further away. Like the safari park is an hour and a half from Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah, but you're in Dallas-Fort Worth.
A little further, I know, but it's a little farther than I'd really want.
Okay.
Just as you're scaling and you're trying to get to these parks, because especially as construction oversight, I've got to get out there and see what's going on. And so
not only for you, but your customers who are going to these locations, you don't want it to be too far.
Right.
Which just, is kind of
and with
discourages people to go.
With the RV park world, that's the other thing. One of the things that I didn't recognize getting into the business is how many people actually live in their RVs. You see manufactured housing, they live there, but there's a lot of folks that live in their RVs. And I always thought it was retirees, people with disposable income, and they're just traveling around. That's what they do.
With extra time.
Because that's the people in my family that did it. That's what they did. But to see the number of people, especially since, 2020, when Everybody can work remotely.
Yep.
There's an amazing amount of people that are homeschooling their children
On the road.
on the road.
Yeah.
And so that's another component that we're at GlampHER that we're putting into all of our parks. And that is a homeschool section. So we're going to have a small area that has a desk, that has a printer, that has a little area
Oh, that's
with
cool.
historical information of the area, geography.
Yeah.
Even related to maybe sports teams and different things about that area.
Yeah.
Different nature trails, that type of thing that these families can utilize when they're again, it's a brand that we're creating, and we want people to know what to expect when they come to our parks.
You're creating an experience
Exactly.
for somebody that would maybe be unique to that location.
Yes.
too.
So they
I feel like
can see
that
Which is really
particularly
cool.
is a piece of the business that most people don't know.
Right.
When we try to put RVs in our vacant mobile home sites temporarily, kind of while we regroup if we're doing construction projects. And sometimes it takes longer than we'd like to get homes, or we want to like see and test a couple things before we commit to all that capital.
Right.
And so the experience, like the zoo, or what do you call that? Safari. Park.
Yeah.
But that one, would you rent that out for monthly? Or how long do people stay?
We absolutely do. So that's been a big pivot. I think that's the thing with this business.
Yeah.
Like you're doing, it's pivoting. And what we've had to, the first park that I bought was the Texas park. There was supposedly going to be this big thing that was coming into Jacksboro, Texas. And it was actually going to be a lunar landing spot. And people were going to be able to actually feel like they were on the moon. And they were going to do it at this big old baseball field that was out there. So we were going to do some of the domes and do stargazing and all of that and play into that.
Uh-huh.
That didn't happen.
Oh.
So
Shoot.
we knew that we were going to do the short-term rental with the cabins, and we were going to start adding some glamping features. We also have a 10-acre fishing lake there. So that's another draw that people, so we've pivoted. And with that park, we have a lot of long-term people. So about, I would say 60% is long-term. We've got traveling nurses. There's a hospital about 5 minutes away. We've got some oil field workers. We've got, there's air turbine workers. So there's a lot of windmills out there, or the air turbine.
Yeah.
So they come out and stay. And then just local folks, again, with the economy the way it is, people had a couple of people who have lost their loved ones, lost their husband, their wife, and they move there because it's more simple and they don't want to necessarily keep up with the house.
Yeah.
Things that I just really have been surprised about.
Yeah.
So we've pivoted at that park. One of the things that we're looking at doing as we created an event center at the front of the park. It was an old house that was there, and I gutted it and created an event center.
Okay.
So for weddings at a safari, I think that probably be right up your alley, right?
Corporate events, you name it.
Yes, exactly.
But people love that type of thing, especially for events, weddings, birthdays, that gatherings.
Well, how fun for the traveling nurse family that has kids to live at the zoo kind of a thing, a safari park. Like, that is cool.
Yeah.
You get it for a chunk of time.
Yep.
So how much do you get for rent on a monthly basis there?
So there we're getting $475 monthly, and then $40 to $55 a night, depending on the nightly sites.
So you make more money on the nightly.
Yeah.
But
if
then-
we're full.
Right.
And so that's
Right.
one of the things.
Yeah.
So here's another thing that I just found out in the last month. So Landman is being filmed there.
And there?
Landman
Like
in
there?
Jacksboro. So Billy Bob Thornton was recently in Jacksboro. Demi Moore, I guess, shut down the dollar store down the street because she needed to go and shop when they were filming. So I'm actually reaching out to the publicist to talk to them because we have such a great spot.
And you can be like, hey, use my property if you need to.
And I think, we've got a lot of extra space. So I just, again, this business is about, for me, it's about being creative. It's about pivoting. It's about, if you're in a particular area, Jacksboro, Texas isn't a destination location. It's why we buy in destination locations now.
Got it.
Because it's been challenging to get people to come out. And it was a plan was there was going to be a lot of in and outs, and the pro forma didn't really pan out that way. Right. So Pigeon Forge, 11 million people a year come through that town. Beaver Lake, $3 million a year. And then we're looking in, I own a big property, which I was buying when you and I met in Norris Lake, Arkansas. And it is just north of Knoxville, and huge lake, beautiful slate bottom lake. And I've got 266 acres there.
Whoa.
So it's going to be development,
lake, which is pretty cool.
It is. And it's got $2.5 million worth of improvements. So I've got, electric, city water, and a water treatment plant, septic treatment plant there. So it will be a true RV glamping resort. No RV park there. We're actually going to do a glamping resort.
Oh, and
so that's where you set the tents. She does was there
already stuff there other than the infrastructure?
There's nothing there. And so
starting from scratch.
So we'll probably have a handful of safari tents. We did at our Pigeon Forge Park canvas tents, and the longevity of those, 5 years on some of those. So what we have started looking at, and for the resort there in Norris Lake, it'll be 50 glamping units, and there'll be the Conestoga wagons.
Cool.
Those are really fun.
Yeah.
Every time I see that vendor at conferences, I'm like, these are cool.
They're super cool people.
They are.
Just really down to earth people.
Yes.
And that climate, it doesn't get crazy hot there, right?
In Knoxville, no, it gets cold though.
Okay.
And so,
that's
one of
easier,
the
though.
things,
Heater's a little easier.
Yeah.
I feel like the Conestoga wagon, we looked at them and we have a park. The RV park we have is off the 17 in Phoenix, and it's called Covered Wagon.
Yep.
So we were like, man, should we put one of these in?
Yes. Right.
But it's so damn hot there.
Well, but you have mini splits.
They do.
So, and they work.
Does it work?
So
maybe it was because so many people were in and out of it at the thing I was at.
Oh yeah, there's no way for them to keep it cool.
Well, and they probably were running it with like a generator or something that maybe doesn't pump as much power as a pedestal.
It's just you crack the fridge door a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've learned more about mini splits over the last 3 years than I ever thought I would know.
I love mini splits.
Yeah, I do too. And so they actually have helped us. So Conestoga, as I was looking at our Pigeon Forge Park and knowing what we wanted to do, they really helped us out because they buy a lot of canvas, right? And so they're like, hey, this is who we work with. This is what we can help you with. And so they helped us design a GlampHER tent. And it's got some really cool features. It's got these really big poles on it that are hand peeled, like really cool looking poles. And then again, that discussion about a mini split and where to put it and how to do it. And we have a nice Conestoga door on our tents. So it's not the zipper. You open it up and then the head sits on top of that, right? Okay. And so, fast forward to a couple months ago, we're doing bell tents on already existing platforms at our Beaver Lake property. Well,
now what's a bell tent?
The bell tent's the circular one that kind of just real feminine and kind of cool looking, right?
Yes.
Well, you can't put a door in that, and it's really hard. What are you going to do with the head of the mini split? So
needs some structure.
Found actually a floor mount Mitsubishi. So again, in mini splits, just let me know. I kind of, and I will say I lean on vendors to help with all of that because
you have to when you got locations that are not close or easy to get to for you.
And every park that we buy is a little different on what we're actually going to do, right? Pigeon Forge, smaller park. There's a creek line. That's where the plan, came to put the tents there. Beaver Lake, a lot more real estate to work with and some really cool primitive camping areas where we're going to be doing A-frames and tree houses. So I have somebody designing those specifically for us, like just 300 to 400 square feet tops.
Yeah.
And primitive bathroom, compost toilet. There's some really cool things you can do nowadays that really
cost you a ton of money.
You definitely need electricity. Obviously, you got your utilities out
and running water.
Outside of that, running water, yes, but there are even some ways around that.
Yeah.
So we have some really cool features where we'll have like a big bucket of water that will come down and for people to brush their teeth. So it really does feel like camping.
That is glamping.
Then that's glamping.
It's like in Saudi Arabia, they move a city of tents out there just for the king to go out. That's glamping.
That's glamping.
Absolutely.
There's rugs on there. It's in the middle of the dunes so he can drive his buggy or whatever.
And you have you can sleep comfortably because you're in a really nice, we've got a company that we buy all of our mattresses from. We make sure that we've got really comfy mattresses and sheets and AC and heat. you're really good to go. You know, it's creating an experience. One of the things I recognize is, myself included, I won't go just camping.
Yeah.
But I will do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like you get more people that, as a couple or even a friend group, that these people are camping and these people won't. Now they might.
Right.
And now they experience things.
And it's an experience.
Exactly.
Like if you can brush your teeth / take a shower or whatever,
Yes.
but it comes out of this cool bucket, who cares?
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't matter. And then it's like, well, this is kind of fun.
Exactly.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's different. And kids love that kind of stuff. They get a kick out of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
When you realize like the problems that you have to solve and it's right in your face.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you take that for granted. You just kind of plants all these seeds
You
of
really
thought.
do. Like, I think it does. It's a great way to, just for us as a society where we have everything at our fingertips, right? And, you know, we've talked about doing limited Wi-Fi. Most of our primitive camping is a little limited. We'll have areas that will have Starlink, and you know, Starlink is
people
also an amazing
It's amazing.
thing.
It works
It's
so
amazing.
great.
I have it.
I love
amazing.
Mitsubishi mini splits and Starlink.
Yeah.
Those are my loves lately.
Hey, but
They're huge. You can run them
Exactly.
anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So, but getting disconnected a bit and allowing people to do that in a space to do that. But if you are working, you know, the other really cool thing that I have fallen in love with this business over is family reunions. I've seen these families come out that several of them might have RVs, but the others don't. And rather than having to stay at a motel or a hotel down the road, they can actually stay in a glamping unit.
Yeah.
And the RVers are like, oh, that's cool, right?
I've had a lot of RVs and man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And to where like now you go, Morgan's going down this weekend to the Sun Outdoors one that's on Chula Vista. It's really cool actually. You'd get a kick out of it just because you think about these things.
Right.
Yeah.
They spend so much money making this awesome resort on the San Diego Bay, South Bay, and it's beautiful. Well, it's like $200 a night to plug your RV in.
Yeah.
And they have these awesome park models there that you can rent.
So you
and
can
it's
why
not
not
that
just-
much more.
No.
Exactly.
And I'm like, honestly, next time I'm not bringing my setup. I'm just going to rent one.
Right.
And I would rather, because it's just more fun.
Yep.
And then like, I would way rather stay in one of your units than bring my RV.
Right.
But to her point, it's really kind of cool to have the dual option. Because I know
With a
some
large
families
family.
that are like, man, I never use my RV. Like, let's go
There you go.
somewhere
Yeah.
to
Use
like
it.
use it.
Right.
And so like, let them use the RV. We can stay in the units that are there or whatever, because we don't have an RV. And so it brings people together and creates that opportunity to like do that together. So I love that because
It's a good mix.
it's a
mix
great
too.
mix.
Yeah. Well, on the park model, it's amazing.
Oh my
and
gosh,
that's one
today
of the
they're so
things
nice.
when it comes to permitting and all of the things. Like, you expect that you buy a campground and you could do anything.
I know.
Especially not in Pigeon Forge. We've learned the hard way, and we've had to pivot. Like, they were like, no, you can't build that. No, you can't build that deck. We need to see this, this, and this. No, you can't put a canvas tent up for somebody to stay short-term rental. We need to abide by all of these guidelines. It's kind of crazy. But they'll allow somebody to go pitch a tent. You know, but because it's a business, right?
You're
and
operating a commercial use.
Exactly.
Whatever.
It's not going up and down. So it's learning all those nuances. But to your point about park models, if you buy, and that's one of the great things about what we do, I can be working on the utility build out while a manufacturer, one of these groups, because there's some amazing park model features out there. And have them working at the simultaneously. So utilities are done, the park model shows up, and boom, you're in business. So
and the park models aren't that expensive.
No.
Like when I look at the wagons and I look at all that stuff, I'm like, for about the same price, maybe a little bit more, you can get a full blown house.
Right.
You know, that's pretty resilient.
Right. Yeah. And we're doing some really, sexy, fun park models that have like rooftops and they're A-frame designed, and
that's so
some
cool.
really cool features because again, it's at a park that's more of a destination. So people are coming in and out. So,
I love
it. It's been great to work with the vendors and talk through all of that. And
just for fun, have you ever seen the one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming? There's one called Fireside. I looked at it.
I've heard about it.
It sold a handful of years ago because I was like super interested.
He was
but
like,
it was
look
not
at
our
this
business.
place.
You know, it just was like completely different. And so we were over our skis a little bit on how to run it if we did go after it.
Right.
But that guy, he couldn't find units he wanted, so he just made his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
They're
turned
really
out
cool.
so cool.
But I think he opened a plant and everything on his own. I mean, it's
Well,
unreal.
and I've seen people lean that direction. In fact, that's almost where we're at with some of our stuff. When you can build it on a chassis, then guess what? You don't have to deal with a lot of things and you work around some things. And so I've met with a group in Phoenix, can't remember the name of them right now. Again, met one of the prime money people behind it at Family Office Club. And he introduced me to them and I went and looked, and that it was born out of a need. And you're going to see, I think you're going to see more and more of that.
Tiny home or a park model?
It's a park model.
Okay, just more resorty.
Yeah, exactly.
Or more just,
yeah.
better looking.
And you know what? You also have a very big build to rent community. Like they're popping up everywhere.
They are popping up.
Affordable housing is super, and you know, I
Always
look
a
at the RV living people. It's an economical way for them to live right now.
Totally.
Well, and if people enjoy raising their kids and you're going to add in these like homeschool features, like that's a draw for people to like come. And so that's really cool.
We just talked to the Boxable co-founder.
Right.
For the record, they're sitting on a ton of inventory.
Are they?
And they'll sell some cheap.
Yeah.
All right. I'd love to talk to them.
And so that, I feel like that'd be kind of fun to do like a section of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were
And they
kicking it
have
around for the RV park. They can put them on a frame and do the park model designation.
There you go.
And they had some client order like 200 and then they couldn't get them approved.
Yeah.
And that exactly what you're talking about just happened.
And now they're sitting on in Vegas. They have like hundreds of these.
Yeah.
And they're exactly what you would need to rent basically for shorter term.
Yeah. And if they can put them on a chassis, I mean that is one of the things again about our business is manufactured housing is so institutionalized now. And there's so many banks and there's so many groups that are comfortable with it. Even city municipalities, right?
Yeah.
They literally, they get it. They understand it. RV parks and glamping, they're like, oh, what's going on, right?
Well, I think that's a good segment into jumping into the market. So I follow, I'll share with you a funny quote from these Scottish travelers we've interacted with.
You probably know them from Arizona and stuff, like through the years.
Have you heard of the Arizona traveling families? They're really great family-oriented people, and they stick to their cultural roots.
Yes.
And they still speak Gaelic. I mean, it's like a whole thing.
Oh, that's
a lot of their families own, like percentage-wise, huge swaths of mobile home and RV parks across the country.
Wow. Okay.
And it's just the niche that they got
that they're
into.
doing. Right.
Yeah, and they've been buying mobile home parks or trailer parks for years as a source of income.
They're awesome.
And they're
are
really great.
Hilarious
Yeah.
To engage with.
They're so
and
funny.
They call mobile home parks breakfast and RV parks lunch.
Yeah.
So they believe in both.
Yeah.
You know, just as like, that's like their whole investment thesis.
Yeah.
Mobile home parks and RV parks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But credit availability and lending has really impacted RV parks lately.
Yes. Yes.
Because we were dabbling on a few and we bought two. So I'll just give you the quick story. We bought a couple out of need from exchange partners.
Right.
Where I just didn't have deals. And then like an RV park would pop up and I could finish and complete the exchange.
And it fit the appropriate,
We
size.
bought like a
amount.
mobile home park and then like the $2 or $3 million RV park in Mesa or Phoenix to just kind of round out and make sure they covered.
Right.
So then we were operating them and we decided to sell one off. We were able to get break even plus a couple bucks because when we bought at the peak in 2021-ish.
Yeah.
And we were getting bank loans, 75% LTV, 5-star bank. Have you heard of them?
Mm-hmm. I have.
4.25.
Yeah.
30-year ammo.
Yeah. That just does not happen right now.
Doesn't happen right now.
Gosh. And so then the other one we bought, actually, they needed to put the cash in the deal.
Yeah.
So we ended up paying cash. So like, we're fine. It pumps money.
Right.
But the short term didn't work out as on paper the same way we modeled it.
Yep.
We're gifted and or blessed by the fact that so many people want to live in their RVs.
Yes.
It is in town.
Yeah.
But we're having to do a lot of utility upgrades. We're breaking stuff left and right on the old electrical infrastructure.
Right.
So we're doing a big wave of that.
Yeah.
But it seems like the market, it's probably not a bad time to be buying.
Yeah,
if you have capital, it's kind of like office,
what we
but
keep saying.
RV parks.
Yes.
It's the cap rates are absurdly good right now.
They
it's
are.
like 8 cap, if or whatever.
Right.
So what are you seeing in the market?
So our biggest reason that we started doing this is we were talking to mom and pops. We don't usually buy on market. We have an acquisition funnel that my business partner has created, and she was a broker, so she knows the business. And we're talking to mom and pops that are ready to get out, and they know that tax implication, so they're willing to do seller financing. Yep. And that is the way we've had to go, because the financing again but we're getting 4, 5, 6% with seller financing.
They don't have the tax hit.
Well, it's a win-win because they can, get the interest income and not have a giant taxable event.
Absolutely.
I just was on Frank Ralph, their platform, and it used to be that for mobile home parks. They're like Fannie and Freddie and mobile home parks did not exist.
They did not exist.
Wouldn't touch
it's pretty new.
Yeah.
And so in the back of my mind now, I'm starting to like think about how to really lean away from the institutional debt in the big picture at a minimum LTVs. And we're taking Fannie fixed 50% loan to values for the next 10 years. Like those are the deals we're doing now, because when maturity comes in 10 years, God knows where we're going to be.
What is it going to look like?
And I don't want a huge threshold to have to refi.
Right.
Because I'll be able to go find a bank or a life co or somebody to take us out, worst case, at a 30%.
Exactly.
Exactly. Maybe we can get a good rate again.
Gotta make sense.
But I can't bet on that.
Right.
I don't, so I feel like the RV park latest thing that has occurred, it's really painted the right story of risk and credit availability and debt. You don't want to overdo it.
Right.
And so the hidden gem of the space used to be seller carry.
You're right. And our underwriting is super conservative as well. We're really, because we have seen and we have experienced, even in Pigeon Forge this year, we have seen a true slowdown. The whole city has. Of travelers this year. Yeah. And so those park models are a pivot that we're looking at, filling some of our short-term sites for park models. So most of our properties, we have a long-term component, seasonal long-term, that we very strict rules. You've got to keep it clean because we want to be a family-friendly, clean, short-term park. And being in mobile home, like if you live there, sometimes they're just spreading stuff out.
We go in and have to clean all that.
You got to hold the line. But the line has to be pretty firm and it has to be really clean.
It does.
Or else it will just...
Our ops team, that's, you dial it in immediately and you let people know. And we have seen, especially in the last couple of years, people need that place so badly. They need to stay there. They're willing to adjust, and they're very understanding of that, and they get it figured out really quickly. So we always have that long-term component, and then the short-term RV, and then that glamping. I do really believe that I've seen it already. The money is coming this direction, and I think within a few years, you'll see bank lending, the same thing that happened with manufactured housing, and you're going to start seeing institutions. You already see Hilton. I actually was at an event 2 weeks ago in Phoenix with a couple of top people in Marriott and Hilton, and they're buying glamping. Their REI is building out their own glamping resort. So it is something that you'll start seeing even the bigs that are getting in.
To do it.
And so I think it's definitely coming that way. And the more those groups get in, then banks start going, oh, okay, we're comfortable with this. This makes sense. So, but you have to perform. It has to make sense.
Of course.
And it's a pivot. And we've continued to have to pivot. So,
and like even hotel finance. I mean, anything that's shorter term just kind of took a pause.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Exactly.
I have a hotel buddy and he got rocked.
Did he?
He's now like really debt adverse. And I don't blame him, but it's like a whole thing. Yeah. So no, it's interesting. I have some people on the brokerage side that I think you guys should know only because they do uncover those off market, same kind of leads.
Yeah.
They just hit different numbers.
Right.
And so I have a good friend. He actually just called me. He's bought a couple deals in Arkansas and off market.
Awesome.
That's like what he does with his brokerage fee income.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, would love to. Yeah.
I look at the stuff and there's some cool deals running around. Did you see those deals that were down like in Austin or they were off the river somewhere down in New Braunfels or somewhere over in there. That
You know what? Sierra probably did because she's got her eyes on all of that. We've also paused on acquisition for a second.
Yep.
I think I mentioned we're having a little retreat here in San Diego over the next couple of days to just kind of regroup and make sure as we grow, we've gotten a lot of opportunity. And we've also realized, where do we want to spend most of our time?
Yeah.
Again, capital raising is super important. And we want to partner with the right people that really understand our business or just really want passive income. We've also talked to a couple of big family offices that might want a JV partner with us. And again, it's a learning process. Who do you want to work with? How do you want to grow? Because we do have a couple of big development, like the one I mentioned in North Lake.
100 acres.
That would be having somebody come in and really understand that project and to a degree. So you got some really big people that are in this space that have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
That we're hoping to maybe, hey, you don't have to do the work anymore. We're going to go in and do the work and you get to reap the benefits of these things.
Which is a great option for people who are trying to figure out, how the heck am I going to sell this? What do I do?
Right. Right.
Or somebody has passed and now a daughter, somebody's inherited this.
Exactly.
They're looking for somebody like you to take over.
Right.
Yeah. So we started to talk kind of off camera about the capital raising and you had some nuggets, but what would you tell somebody? Like, how do you guys fundraise and what would you tell somebody that's trying to figure out how to better fundraise?
It's been such a journey for me specifically.
Fundraising is hard and it's an ever changing thing with relationships and strategy and
it's who so the big thing out there is, who's your avatar, right in the sales world, right? Who's your avatar? Well, money is money, and trying to find a good fit for what you're doing. I look at all the funds that have been created recently, and I understand the fund model. It makes a lot of sense. I've always sold, especially these on the property itself. People get jazzed, people get excited, they can see it, they can go and look at it. And I have found capital raising per project has been what I enjoy. And I think as we grow, we're going to need to do a fund model. We're not quite there yet. I will say that, when you put together a PPM and you are working with that in the subscription agreement, and you're talking about all the nuances, there's so many ways to do it. Do you have Class A? Do you have Class B? Do you do pref? So what we have found, and one of the great things, I think, being smaller, we can ebb and flow and we're very flexible. And so with our Beaver Lake project, our most recent one, we started to raise just on a regular, like a 506B, but we decided, all right, you know what, let's move to a C.
Okay.
And we're going to create a different class and add pref. And so we continue to evolve. Oh, honestly, I have more people that want to come in at 500,000 than wanted to come in 100.
So can you mark it at the 506C? You can mark it, right? And then you use a third party credit author, to make sure they're
really
accredited.
have to do that themselves, so they can get their letter and they can go get that, or it could be a CPA. But you have that in your. We started using CashFlow portal. So, which is funny because with the CashFlow, me and my daughter are both like, is that
CashFlow portal? Okay.
Yes.
We use Juniper Square.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yes, it is very similar. And so, people can hop in, they can read the PPM and the subscription agreement, really get a feel for it. So yes, we can now blast it out, get it to people. And we've found a lot of people that know the area and they know the Ozarks. And a lot of Texas, Oklahoma folks, that's where they vacation. I'm in Arizona. This is where I vacation. We've got a place here in San Diego that my daughter lives, but that area, that neck of the woods, that's where they're going. And so when you can get the information and people know the area, we've got people just clamoring to be a part of it.
So the C, did it kind of supercharge your capital raising, making that switch to a C?
It did. It absolutely did. Yep. The pref.
Both.
Yeah.
The pref
it was the C, but it was really the pref, right? And that's where, when you show somebody what they're going to make and you play it out for 100,000 at even 90-10, because that's the split that we do. And it's just double, and then you're out. Same thing for the pref, 500 and more. And then we offered 7% pref and 80/20 after that.
Okay.
And by far, like we show somebody that and they're like, oh yeah, if they have that, that's definitely the way they want to go.
Yeah, 7% pref is very good.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And
Yeah.
we're 20% annual rate of return on that deal. You know, again, there's just a lot of good and super conservative underwriting. So we expect to perform way better. Our first couple months have been outstanding. And so the park has really good bones. A lot of people know about it. They don't know about all the things they do now. The people that have come over the holidays, they're like, oh my gosh, they're so excited about what we're doing.
Well, and then that's great because once you get people out there, then word of mouth and your marketing, then it really just people start to know about it.
Right.
And it spools from there.
It really does make
exactly
it.
What's that deal? Just because we got kind of in the weeds of it. What is that one as is? What did you buy? Is that the big development?
Beaver Lake? No. Beaver Lake, Arkansas is the 26 acres on the lake.
How many units?
Existing 140 sites.
Okay.
And so now not all of those were full scale RV sites. So probably about 100 are full scale RV, some with full hookups, some with not, some pull throughs, that type of thing.
Cool.
And then some long term. And so, but tons of primitive camping and a lot of people coming in for the primitive camping.
Yeah.
So that's where we're adding 20 units for
just more
glamping.
camping. Yeah, cool.
Glamping. So the A-frames and the tree houses.
Cool.
Those will
and the
thrive there.
trees
They'll
and
do
rocks.
so great.
And one of the greatest things about this park is it has this gorgeous lookout area. It had 5 platforms already built, $10,000 platforms. So that's where we ordered the bell tents.
Yep.
We ordered a shower house from Conestoga. And within 6 weeks, we have all of that up and ready to go.
And that's where floating pickleball might be coming in.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
So how much did you buy that for? Do you mind
So that
sharing?
one,
if you
about
don't
$3
mind.
million.
Gosh, that's cheap per unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. And again, though a bank wouldn't touch it. Like we finally found a bank, but it took a while. And so
Is it local?
It's not local to
regional.
there. We talked to 2 local banks there. Yeah. A lot of this we were doing last year during the election.
Oh, which was a weird spin. There were people who just were
there's a new
very uncertain.
weird
Yes,
thing in the
there
market.
is.
It's
Yes.
just always
I know
something.
it's always something.
We were super excited. We woke up. We were at actually OHI, the Outdoor Hospitality Conference in Oklahoma City during the election. And we woke up and I looked over to my business partner and I'm like, Trump won. And she's like, bonus depreciation back, baby.
We were all very excited about that.
I turned the glass on July 4th.
Yeah.
To bonus appreciation. Because that's
did.
huge.
Yeah.
Well, so bonus depreciation is a thing in the RV space
Oh.
too. It's
huge.
so good.
So we,
And
exactly.
So we all,
Yes, I'm a real estate professional. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So we always do during due diligence, we kind of get a bid and a really good idea from our cost seg group on what it's going to look like. And then the minute we close, we get a cost seg done. And all of that depreciation goes to our investors.
Okay.
So we don't usually take it as the GP team. So
Yeah.
Well, so you should be now with the 100%. It could go pro rata
So you give it
after they get 100%.
the capital gets first dibs,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
what I
anything
heard.
left
You're gonna
over
get some.
goes pro rata.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
get some.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be enough there
Yeah.
now with the 100%.
yeah.
Cash gets it first, and then once it's covered, it goes to
Yeah.
pro rata. So
Yeah.
it's good.
It's great for our
Great
investors.
problem.
And, that's one of the things as back to that capital raising.
Yeah.
The more people you talk to, I had raised a lot of capital from friends and family and people in multifamily that wanted to see something different.
Yeah.
The more you have to raise though, and the more deals that come in, as you guys know, people only have so much resource,
exactly.
right? And so to venture
Continue.
out, get outside of that level of people and really, communicate to people, you almost have to do a 506c because you got to get it out. You got to, if you want to grow, we're
Right.
looking at we'll probably be at about 15 parks in the next 5 years is kind of how we want to grow. We think 15 to 20 depending. And so, we just had a deal. We thought we were going to, capture quite a few of that, that didn't work out. And We've got other things coming. You know, a lot of times, I'm sure you guys, you've been in the business long enough. When people know what you do, you start hearing about things. So
of course.
it's got 2 or 3 peripherally that we will be talking about and looking at that we didn't even go look for at all.
Yeah.
They just
and
come
going
to
to
you.
conferences and keeping, you know, your foot in the door with people are like, oh yeah, I know them. Oh yeah, I know them.
Yeah.
And you start to just be kind of known in the space.
Exactly. Yeah. The consistency and showing up and, you know, being at those places.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're right. Sometimes you have to take a pause and you have to kind of like reassess where you are, where you want to go. You know, let's hold on a minute, make sure you're on track performing on the existing properties. Because the worst thing you want to do is kind of hurt that, hurt your reputation to keep growing and moving forward.
Exactly.
So I think you're doing great things right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Asset management is a big piece.
It is.
That, you know, we are working together on, both my partner and I. And it's super important to, you know, again, you want to continue to perform. There's so many great ideas. And so it's so exciting. I mean, we're deal junkies. We love to look at deals and, you know, it's so much fun. That was like
the biggest thing when we met, we were chatting. It was just like, tell me about your deals. Tell me about your deals. And we were like deal junking together.
Did you tell her your quote?
I don't think I maybe told you. Blake, Blake tells the
back
story.
When we were running around chasing the deal, we looked at a big Austin mobile home park, like a 450 unit. In hindsight, we probably should have bought it. But anyways, outside of in Austin. So there was some issues with like government and taxes.
Taxes
and insurance in Texas.
It was like crazy. And it was going to be our first deal. And so like we chartered a jet in COVID because couldn't get there. It was like a total mess.
Right.
And we had this, anyways, Dad and I are kicking around. Like we wake up, we're going to Starbucks and then we're going to start driving the whole area and do our whole tour. And we get talking about something going on like in the town or whatever, COVID, whatever it was. I don't even remember what we were talking about. And she goes, all right. Enough with the bullshit. Let's talk deals.
Let's do this.
I'm like, all right, I've heard enough of whatever you guys are talking about. I'm here to talk about deals, okay?
And it was just like the moment where I realized she had fully been bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
She's on, you know?
She's like, I want to see what we got. What we're doing.
I'm like, where are we going? What deals are we looking at
total
today?
Deal junkies. So, but then was this all created to just wrap up the cash flow kind of dynamic?
Yeah.
Was this all created for cash flow in the end? Do you like the concept and then you're looking for passive income and that was kind of this journey?
Right. And I, you know, again, I have always been entrepreneurial spirit. My dad worked for the same oil company, oil and gas, for 32 years. My mom was a stay-at-home mom until junior high. She went and started working for American Airlines. And I grew up in this very conservative W-2 type environment. And I was always kind of bucking the system. And I just felt like more a longing to create something for myself. And so, when I started recognizing what real estate could do for you, did some flips. It's not cash flow, right? Started really paying attention to multifamily and RV and manufactured housing and recognizing, oh gosh, this is where it's at. So that is definitely the play. We'll look to sell some of our portfolio and then keep others and, you know, but for that cash flow. And
well, you sell some, you make that, you know, take the equity from there and you roll it into something else and you kind of can continue growing that cash flow, passive income stream and lots of avenues.
One of the things that I think turned me off a bit about the multifamily world is it was like that everybody just wanted to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's not the end all be all for me.
Yeah.
I want to be comfortable and I want to enjoy what I do. And that's why the RV
it's not as fun. You're creating an experience for somebody with the glamping and the RV components of what you are.
It just had a freight train of institutional
the
flavor.
sea of blue suits.
Well, and it also had a lot of training groups coming in. Like you had a lot of, and I won't name any of them, but there's 2 or 3 really bigs out here, or not out here, but around the country that have taught that. And I was in the middle of all that, seeing all these people come in, and I've also seen them struggling now. And I'm not saying that won't happen in any other industry. I just feel like there was a lot of information out there and a lot of training and a lot of you can do this and look at this. And I think a lot of people
on that side was unbelievable.
I think a lot of
they
people
all drank the Kool-Aid and took
over
the
the
adjustable
skis.
They did.
Exactly.
And there's people struggling right now.
So as much as it's been hard in our RV world, I'm very happy about it because it keeps you real. And
if you make it through now and then you keep buying stuff.
Oh, you guys will be sitting real pretty.
So a question that keeps pinging is, are you guys going to become a little bit more focused? Is there a particular asset type now in RV parks that you're looking, like the Beaver Creek concept? I feel like that's a good target.
It is. And so and that's kind of where we were growing to. So it's 100 units and more, and it's in, Tennessee and the Knoxville area. It's Arkansas where we are. Texas, we've paused on because of taxes and insurance. Just kind of hold off for a second and see. I think taxes might change. I've heard some little whisperings.
Could share some tidbits too, because he's learned quite a bit about that tax. I was going to have you download.
They just got unreasonable, and I feel like there's been enough of a wave of pushback to where they're having to sort of normalize kind of a calculation that makes somewhat of sense.
I went from $9,000 annually to $20,000 taxes,
double
in a year,
which is it's nutty.
Ridiculous, right? And so. Again, taking all of those things in stride, yes, we definitely have a very specific buy box. It's 100 plus. It's really, obviously, we're looking for that glamping component, and finding a park that can facilitate both is a little unique. So we've got a couple of things that we're looking at, and we had something under contract that we've just recently gotten out of contract because we didn't close, but it was very intentional. Again, talking about growth and how we want to do it.
Yeah, once you looked at it, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So, the growth is really being wise. I'm sure you guys have, as you scale, you've got to make sure it makes sense.
We've had lots of experience there.
My new saying this year has been like, we're no longer just shotgun blast buy everything. We're
very
more
strategic.
We have a very specific buy box, and we're sniping deals.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting and not taking on more than, biting off more than we can chew.
Right.
But we're grooming and pruning the portfolio.
Yeah. And I think
Along the
also
way,
for us, it's recognizing when we talk to a seller, especially a mom and pop, we have to be very real with them and explain to them, because sometimes they're not very realistic. And if they've talked to a broker, a lot of times
they get these thoughts and ideas in their head that just
a lot
really
of times
isn't real.
It takes us, it's a dance.
It's a nurturing process.
Because you don't have a T12, you don't have all of this historical. Most of them are spending their money, and they're spending it on, 9/11s and cruises and trips to Italy, and none of the things that I would absolutely spend it on that. If you're they're just cash flow cows, right?
Yeah.
But your financials, another reason banks are a little like, what? Hold on. They don't understand it because they're not, So what we're doing then is coming in, putting our, online booking system in, so people can go online and book. CampSpot.
Okay, we use CampSpot too.
Yeah.
We were going to jump and we haven't.
Yeah. Well, I've got a park that I've used ResNexus at, and I've been very happy with ResNexus, but as a group, we just felt like CampSpot was a good fit for us. And
is that your management platform, or do you use something else too? Like
that's
for accounting?
We have accounting like QuickBooks, and we've got an accountant that handles all that. But no, we don't. It's really just the online booking. And then obviously, we've got kayaks and paddleboards and all of the merchandise, the camp stores.
Which CampSpot does all that too, right?
They do. They do. Then again, there's some things that, when you have an Airbnb and a Vrbo, component, there's a little, you kind of have to work around those things.
Sure.
Those are all things that my team works on, and it's not the easiest thing to figure out, but everybody's getting a lot better. CampSpot's been really good about saying, hey, tell us what you need, and we'll work on getting it. They're
Which is
evolving
helpful.
and growing, and that's a great place to be. But there's so many different nuances that we're putting together that within 24 months, you're going to have a really clear picture of what that particular park that you had no understanding of what they were doing before.
And that's just the thing.
Yeah, in a way, the data is being institutionalized to, or at least at an understandable level.
Yeah.
Because that is the issue. I mean, with hotels, you have it.
Right.
There's still debt is that you can still get debt. But that's the mom and pop. So we kind of do that in the mobile home park space. We do. We've done everything from handwritten.
Our first closing, we got a stack of note cards. Here's the reservations for the rest of the year. Like recipe cards.
It's like nuts.
Okay.
People, you tell that and they're like, wait, what?
Oh yeah.
And we're
everything
like, yeah, nothing's
handwritten.
computerized
Right.
with these mom and pops.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the value add we kind of sell too, because you'll take it. You can't get debt or loan or sell it. There's like the exit strategy is ruined when you don't have good records.
Exactly.
More than
And
likely,
so-
there's huge value add in just all of the other income, all the things
yes.
all of it. But
that you can build, but still keep a warm touch.
that's the low hanging fruit though.
Yeah.
It is.
It's that technology that they haven't used at all that really gives a good view of what the business can do, what it should be doing, the analytics that you can get that say, hey, okay, do we need to spend, especially seasonality with RV parks? You've got seasonality. So in the winter times, we'll say, okay, we'll take 10 more long terms for the season.
Exactly.
And it really does help, with that cash flow.
gaps.
So yeah. And when you have that technology to look and see and play around with, you can really gauge it a lot better. Yeah.
So cool.
Fun.
Well, your
It's a
wealth
fun
and knowledge
business.
is super fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
It's a great business. There's not a day that I don't look forward to it. In fact, I kind of have to, my husband and I both, we own our own businesses and we're both like, hey, we got to stop working. We love our businesses and we love doing the things that we do, but we've got to,
spend time with each other
Exactly.
and have a focus there too.
Exactly.
I get it. Cause
Yeah.
you can
You gotta
get
do
cold.
both, because you gotta go have fun.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, all right, I'm good on
know.
that. And now let's go like chill on the beach somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. You almost have to get away, right?
Well, because otherwise you're always working because you love it so much. And especially because you love it, you find that you're always working.
Right.
And so you really have to be intentional
You do.
about
You absolutely do.
go spend time with my daughter, get out to San Diego, spend time with my husband. Let's go to that dinner tonight, honey, and go get and do that. But at the same time, good for you for loving what you do.
Yeah.
And it's not work. When you love it so much. And it creativity and pushes you to challenge your mind. And so it's fun. It's not a job. And I feel that way. I know we love what we do too. So it's really
makes a difference. It really does, and you're growing something for yourself, for your family, and for other people's families too. I think one of the things that I have so much respect for is our investors who have worked so hard for their funds and their money, and that they trust us with that.
It's really
cool. Is super important to me. And
it's an honor.
I have two clients, right? I've got these clients that are providing us the opportunity to go do this and give them a return. But then I have these other clients and they're completely different ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Somebody who lives in an RV because that's the only thing they can afford.
Right.
And then somebody who's investing. So it's like I have this bipolar client list, but it's amazing. It's, it keeps you grounded. It keeps me very grounded because while I can look at, the bigger opportunities and, oh, this is so great and exciting, I also find myself going, wow, I am blessed. And to offer blessings to people. One of the things that we try to do is if somebody's going to be late on a long-term rent, that we say, look, we have a late fee. You can waive that once a year. And we offer that waive of the late fee at least once a year, because then people, if they do, something happens and we can offer that. You have to be careful, right? Sure. Because people would take advantage if you offered it too often.
Right. But once a year,
exactly.
That's like, okay, I'm having a tough month.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I'll get it to you by X day. And
they're
it won't happen again.
And most of the time they're so appreciative and they just really, so, and some people were like, no, I think I can make it. I'm going to save that just in case. Right. So, and then it's just, it's crazy. The conversations I have in a week are just amazing. From somebody that, somebody that's
resident issues too.
1030.
I'll write you $5 check.
Or I need to place 1.5 million. Do you have space still?
Yeah.
And you're like,
because I need that depreciation before the end of the year.
And obviously my operations team is working with our folks on the ground, but I'm coaching them with my business partner. We're kind of teaching them and training them on how to create a safe and comfortable and fair environment, at the parks too. So,
I'm so excited to see where you guys take this.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you today.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Sharing.
Really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Cash Flow Quest. Cheers.
See you later.